Staying there, a longtime CIA veteran says Vladimir Putin's days are numbered. Jack Devine, who once served as the CIA's acting director of operations, says he believes the Russian president will be overthrown by members of his own government, possibly by this time next year. Devine says Putin's refusal to end the war in Ukraine, despite mounting casualties, will lead to his eventual downfall. And Jack Devine joins us now live. He served in the CIA for more than 32 years before founding the international intelligence and crisis management firm, the Arkin Group. Jack, an honor to have you on the show this morning.
Well, thank you. It's great to be on.
Well, the war in Ukraine, as you know, it's now nearing its 2-year mark. And regarding the future of Vladimir Putin, you have recently said the chances of a coup from his inner circle are increasing, saying, quote, "It'll be a surprise. There's always what we call a black swan that appears from nowhere." Jack, what do you mean by that, and why now?
Well, I think there's two points in that. One is the black swan, which is unpredictable, and the timeline is uncertain. And we saw that with Prigozhin. No one anticipated that. So that could happen, right? That's not predictable. I've been saying for a long time that once he crossed the border into Ukraine back in February 2 years ago, he created his own demise. In other words, his failure to accomplish what he said he was going to do and being held at bay for so long eventually becomes unpopular. We're now reaching a stalemate. And I think this is when his real troubles begin. And it'll be the Russian people decide what happens to him. And I think when we think about what could happen, elections, demonstrations, none of those things are going to take him out. I actually believe it's going to be his own crowd when he becomes too much of a liability and they want to change the setting. Yeah. So I say palace, but I mean, I think we're really talking about his friends decide that he's a liability. That will happen, but it's not today. I mean, I think your point about later in the year, maybe far out, 25. It all depends on answers.
And Jack, you're not the only expert talking about this. Others have also warned Putin will be toppled, but that it could even very well come in the form of suicide, that he would, quote, rather end it all with his golden pistol than face the humiliation of a coup. In your eyes, how realistic is that as opposed to a coup like the one we saw from Yevgeny Prigozhin earlier this year, or just full-on regime collapse, or reports even of his failing health?
Tim Ford. I think it's off the book. I mean, that does a really misunderstanding of Putin. Putin is a mafia guy. They don't assassinate themselves, okay? I mean, it's not going to get to that point. So I put no weight on that.
Okay.
He's a tough customer. He'll have to be pushed down. He's going to hang in there. There's a lot of writing about concessions and finding a peace deal. There's no reason why he's going to do that right now. We're going to be looking at a stalemate, which is beginning now, and it'll be very important to watch what's going on inside Russia. How his popularity is sustained, and I think that's going to be a real problem for him.
And as we look ahead, sir, and we're talking about the eventual demise of Putin, do we have any idea what a successor to him might even look like, or who it might be? Because, I think many across the world have wondered, how has he not been taken out by now? But at the same time, I do have to question if his replacement would be much different than he has been.
I'm glad you asked me that question. I won't go into the background why, but, when we talk about who's going to succeed him, people say, well, Jack, it's going to be someone tougher. But let me explain to me who's going to be tougher. And that's not why he's going to be taken out. It's not going to be the take a tougher policy. It's going to try and find some accommodation. So I think identifying that person is beyond the pale at this point. My guess is it'll be people in the establishment, and it'll be a group. And from that group will then emerge who's the top dog. In the first round, I would suspect it'd be a team of people that would be taking the action. And again, it's not necessarily that he's killed. I mean, they walked Khrushchev out of the room, so he could be walked out of the room, put in the dacha forever. But I think, and we should be careful not to fiddle around inside. CIA, they're expecting me to say that, but I mean, not CIA, but people. I think the Russian people have to decide, but we need to keep the pressure on. We need to make this a sustained stalemate. I mean, because I never thought that the Ukrainians were going to defeat the Russians and drive them out, but they've done a marvelous job at holding them. And if we hold them, the natural ingredients inside Russia will make him perishable.
Yeah, but it's It's hard to imagine what a post-Putin Russia might look like and what 2024 has in store on the battleground overseas there.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.